Hello, my name is Lorne Brown, Doctor of Traditional Chinese Medicine and Clinical Director of AcuBalance Wellness Center in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And I wanted to talk about a blog that I posted on December 30th, 2021 called How Many Eggs to Freeze Based on Your Age to Assure Success. From a lot of the counseling and the support that I offer women going through IVF or egg freezing, a common question or lack of understanding is how many eggs you may need based on your age to freeze. Now, as of 2022, when we're making this recording, there are women now that have been able to freeze eggs and thaw and use them and have live births. So this is kind of the data that's starting to come out. You should know that the data is still small because it wasn't until around 2009-ish that a lot of the clinics started using a technology for freezing called vitrification that was a much better freezing technology for both freezing embryos and thawing them and eggs. And so a lot of the women that started freezing their eggs after 2009 have only in the last few years have started using them and thawing them, and that there's data on it. So we don't have a lot of data, but what we do have can help with counseling and guidance when you're talking to your reproductive endocrinologist about how many eggs should I freeze based on my age. And so in my blog, I share with you how it's quantity and quality that you're looking at. And quality is often based on your age. And based on that, it tells you how many eggs you would want to freeze based on your age to help assure a success rate that at least one of those eggs that thaw turns into a live birth. And so it becomes a number game. And it's quite unfortunate because the women we see, there are some that have cancer and they right away go into a freezing cycle to try to preserve their eggs because they need to get life-saving treatments. But there are a lot of women that we see in their mid to late 30s or even early 40s where they're not with somebody that they're ready to have a family with. And so they want to freeze eggs. And most of the literature shares that it's best to freeze your eggs before age 35. However, the population I see, they don't have that hindsight and now they're looking to freeze. So I kind of wanted to dedicate this video for you to give you some options and also some valid or good information so it can help you when you're talking to your IVF clinic about maybe how many IVF cycles you need to do to retrieve enough eggs to give you that confidence that your chance of success are higher than, say, 50% of a live birth. So let's talk about quality first, because this is something that you have some ability to impact. So you have this chronological age and biological age. And so women I see, say you come in at age 35 chronologically, but biologically may be behaving like 44 or older, based on their AMH levels, antral follicle count levels, their sex hormones, thyroid hormones, inflammatory markers, blood sugars. These are things that your body is biologically much older than your chronological age. So our goal with treatment is, can we get you biologically back to chronologically 38? So if you're behaving biologically late 40s, but you're 38, can we get you biologically 38 again? And that can be done, believe it or not, with dietary therapy and lifestyle. It's something that a lot of people dismiss because it's so simple, but there's a lot of benefit to an anti-inflammatory, low glycemic index diet, which we do have on our AcuBalance website. We wrote a book on it with recipes, and that's free for download at acubalance.ca. There are certain supplements that you can use to boost your fertility and maximize egg quality. There are herbs, there's acupuncture, for blood flow and regulating hormones. There's low-level laser therapy, also known as photobiomodulation, for fertility to help maximize the egg quality and the mitochondrial health of the egg cell. All these things to help maximize and optimize your egg quality before you do the freezing. And you can check out more of that information at our website on acubalance.ca. Now, when it comes to quantity, there was published in the medical journal of Sterility and Fertility in 2017, where they gave, kind of based on the women's age, how many eggs they would want to freeze, mature eggs, they want to freeze to give you at least one chance of a live birth from all those eggs. And that's on my blog, as I mentioned. If you go to December 30th, 2021, the title is How Many Eggs to Freeze Based on Your Age to Assure Success. I list out what they say for women under 35, 35 to 37, 38 to 40, and 40 to 42. Again, as you get older, you require more eggs to freeze and the success rate still goes down. So it's quite unfortunate because many of you may be aware, the population that I see are often over 35 and they realize now based on their career, based on their relationship status, they want to freeze their eggs now because they don't see an opportunity maybe in the next year or two to start a family. And so these numbers are important because you may want to freeze more eggs than you originally thought to assure a higher chance of success in the future when you choose to thaw those eggs. Dr. Aru Zhang from Olive Fertility in the fall of 2018 in her newsletter shared a chart based on age. So she had it at 25, 30, 35, and 40. And then what your chance of success of live birth when thawing those eggs using 5 eggs, 10 eggs, 15 eggs, or 20 eggs. And when I look at the chart I have in front of me here, for all ages, 25 right up to 40, to get 50% or higher success rate, you needed at least 15 eggs. And again, the younger you are, the higher that success rate was. And so that is available on our blog as well that I just mentioned. There is some technology that Olive is using. There's artificial intelligence called Violet. And this is quite interesting. And this may actually help women not need to freeze as many because they're able to take a photo of the egg and then from that, assess the quality. And again, this technology is new. And as their database grows, it will probably get better and more accurate. But it is another great tool. And the way I'm thinking about it is, let's say you were able to get 10 eggs on your retrieval, but you're not sure what the quality is. And because usually the clinics can tell quality once it becomes an embryo, right? They can look at the embryo, especially day 5, and with genetic testing, chromosomal testing, they can get a better sense of quality, right, of your embryo. But from an egg, it's difficult to get quality just from visual. They can definitely see that there could be poor quality, but it's hard to tell if something looks normal if it's actually of good quality. And this technology called Violet may be a tool where they can look at your 9 or 10 eggs and give you an idea of how many look good. And that may come into play when you're having your counseling and getting guidance with the IVF clinic on how many you should freeze, whether that's enough or based on your age, does it make sense to freeze more to increase your chance of success in the future? Anyways, I hope this was helpful. Again, that blog is How Many Eggs to Freeze Based on Your Age to Assure Success. It was published on December 30th, 2021 at accubalance.ca. And that fertility diet's on our website as well. So check out that blog for kind of the 2 charts that I have based on age that can give you an idea of what your chances of success are based on how many eggs you freeze. And that would be mature eggs. And what we mean by that, just to bring awareness, if you're not aware of this, is not all follicles will contain an egg. So when you do an egg freezing cycle and they stimulate you just like a regular IVF, they stimulate you with the drugs. And when they go in to retrieve, not all the follicles will contain eggs. And not all the eggs that they retrieve will be mature. So when you look at these charts on this blog that I've shared, these are mature eggs that they've gotten, not how many follicles to see on a scan, but how many mature eggs were actually retrieved. And then the reason we want quality and quantity is with the quality, remember your egg has to eventually be thawed. It has to be seminated with sperm, and then it has to fertilize. That sperm has to fertilize the egg and grow to at least day 5 to be a blastocyst. And so there's a few hurdles that have to happen. And so that's why with egg freezing, they tend to want to freeze many more than they would say when they're doing embryos. Because when you do an IVF cycle and they inseminate and fertilize the embryos, they know, let's say you got 15 on the retrieval, but maybe you're left with 7 day 5 blasts. At least they know you got 7. And if they test, they'll know how many are normal chromosomally of those day 5 embryos called blastocysts. When you do an egg freezing cycle, you're not fertilizing the eggs, so they don't have that feedback of how many fertilized and how many were able to grow to day 5, and if they're chromosomally tested, how many came back normal. And therefore, they need many more eggs to freeze to give you that chance of a live birth when you choose to thaw those and fertilize those eggs. And so again, that information on how many are available to you on our blog. And that new technology, Violet, may be able to help you in your counseling and guidance that you're getting from the IVF clinic on how many you'd want to retrieve and freeze. And very important to remember, there are some things that you can do to maximize your egg quality before you do the freezing. And ideally, you want to give yourself a good 100 days, so 3.5 cycles before the egg freezing, where you're implementing dietary therapy, lifestyle, stress reduction. There's herbs and supplements, there's acupuncture, and there's photobiomodulation, also known as low-level laser therapy for fertility. If you have any questions, contact us at AccuBalance. Love to hear from you and talk about fertility.